It's almost 8 p.m. on Sunday, May 26th, and I wanted to show you what the cows did. This is where we kept the minerals in the previous row. And there's a muddy trail there. That's where the water was. I don't think there was a water leak, but the way the cows drink the water, they pull their heads out and there's water like dripping out of their mouth, and they kind of make a big mess. So I don't think there was a leak on the water. Another thing too is we're taking down the old wire, and I noticed that it's not easy to see on camera, but the grass where the wire is taller than the grass where there was no wire. So they weren't grazing under the wire. So I'm really not putting hardly any pressure on them at all to force them to graze anything. It's about 80 something degrees, humid. Today it was in the 90s. It was quite hot because of the humidity. So, and they could probably go a little longer here. I took a nice Sunday afternoon nap, and it turned into a several-hour nap. It was supposed to be just a few minutes. And since I'm not feeling well and I'm still kind of on Korea time, my kids are not waking me up. They're letting me sleep. They probably like me better when I'm asleep. Yeah, the wire's hot, JJ. So this stuff, I'm not sure what kind of grass that is. I can probably identify it now because it has the seeds and everything. Let me grab a big stalk of it. I wonder if it's some type of oat or something. But yeah, there's a bunch of it here. So you can see number young 20. I think she's the one that we thought was pregnant. But I haven't seen any change in her bags. And it looks to me like she's swollen in the rear. I know even experts can't tell whether a cow's pregnant just by looking at her, but I hope she's not. She's only like 18, 19 months now. So, yeah, so there's plenty of forage out here for the cows. There's plenty for them to eat. Oh yeah, I wanted to tell the story of number 21. So my friend, he hasn't raised cows before, but he has been around cows before. So it's not, I wouldn't say he's a complete neophyte at it. But his neighbor does cows, and his neighbor's cows are allowed to graze on his property. So he talked with his neighbor. He says, I think I'm going to get a cow. And, you know, I think he was thinking of doing like a cow, get a calf, raise the calf, and eat the calf, right? I kind of explained to him, I said, that's kind of silly. Because you got like, what, 4 acres that you're going to graze. You're going to graze her on. Cows don't like to be alone. Especially if there's a group of cows nearby, they're going to put a lot of pressure to get with the other cows, right? But also wintering your cow can be difficult, even in a climate like this. You have to get a hold of some hay or something to feed the cow. And, you know, with hay, you have to think about protein supplement and things like that. And then if you're going to breed cows, you need to have a bull or some way to get the cow pregnant. So I told him, I says, your best bet is to go buy a calf in the spring, right? Graze that calf until the autumn, and then harvest it, right? That's kind of what you want to do. That's what my grandparent did. It's kind of the easy way, you know. For part of the year where there's no grass, there's no cow either, right? Anyway, so he wanted a cow. I said, hey, I have 21. He came by, I looked at 21. I told the story of 21. I said, hey, she lost 2 calves. I don't know the entire reason she lost those calves. I suspect that it was just bad luck, right? And I kind of explained why I thought it was. But I said, you know, the math is I need to get rid of cows. I want to reduce the number of cows, make way for the young heifers, but also make room for sheep, right? So he decided to buy the cow. Cow looks good, obviously. So 21 goes to his land, and within a couple days, 21 had busted through 3 layers of fence into the neighbor's alfalfa field. And so the neighbor's cows followed her in, and his alfalfa field is destroyed, right? And I was like, oh man, that's not good, you know. That's probably thousands of dollars of damages. And he said, thankfully the neighbor didn't charge him for it. The neighbor did offer to buy the cow from him because she looks good. And they got a vet involved. The vet took a look at 21, poked and prodded, and said, this cow is no good. This cow will never have a healthy calf. Something or other was too small on side, right? So the deal was off. So he decided he was just going to butcher her because he's not going to get a calf out of her. And so he took her down to, you know, a local processing facility and got back hamburger and steaks. And the quality of meat there was hardly any marbling, so it's like venison, very dry. But he said he wanted to jerk the meat anyway. So when you do jerky, you need meat that it doesn't have fat in it. The fat turns. So he's happy about that. And I said, hey, do you mind if I come by and visit you, eat some steaks? And he's like, sure, come on by. You know, right now is probably not a good time for him, but I wanted to taste what she tasted like because she was finished on grass, spring grass. So that's the ryegrass. So when they tried to round up 21, they brought in a cowboy. I don't know what he called him, but they hired a guy with a horse and a cowboy hat, and he went to town trying to bring her in. She was so big, she ended up being 1,500 pounds. I don't know if I mentioned that already, but she was so big and so strong and so ornery that she was pulling the horse. So the cowboy, they tried everything they could think of. They had to get 3 bulls to try to keep her calm, move her with the bulls, and even that wasn't enough. She would just turn around and leave once she figured out what they were trying to do. I told him, I says, hey, you should have called me and told me, because I probably could have brought her in with just a couple sticks in my hand, because she knows me. And he's like, yeah, I didn't want to bother you. You know, besides, I liked watching the cowboy trying to work. It was funny. So guy took 5 hours to bring her in. And he said that that cow just about killed his horse. You know, worked his horse to the bone. So that's the number 21. She was 1,500 pounds. She didn't have a lot of fat on her. She didn't have fat in the muscles, so she wasn't good eating. He said the flavor's good, being as she was grass finished. You know, grass finished cows tend to have a gamey flavor. If you're not used to it or not expecting it, you can get surprised. My goal is to, you know, raise them on so much grass, so much tender grass, that it's just like, you know, finishing them on feed, except you get the yellow fat and all that kind of stuff, you know. The flies don't care about the seed head. Anyway, so that's the story of number 21. So she's in my friend's freezer right now. And, you know, but he decided, once the cow decided to run through 3 fences, that he just didn't want to be a cowboy anymore. So I understand that. Fences are important, and it makes me wonder why my cows are not causing me any problems. Like, I can't think of the last time. A couple weeks ago, one of the calves crossed the wire. You know, Red's calf, 43 I think it was. Let me go see if I'm right. Red's calf crossed the wire, so I had to kind of, make an area where Red's calf can get back in and kind of convince her to, I believe it's a her. Oh, Red's calf isn't next to Red. Anyway, so I had to, kind of coax her in. I assume it's a her. Let me find him. This is it. Maybe. I think that's it right there. It's a bull. But, yep, it's a bull. There's 43. But he was calling for his mama, and his mom was calling for him, and they were clearly not pleased with the situation. But I think these wires, they're psychological. They don't work as a physical barrier. Any one of these cows could just walk right over the wire. They might get a couple zaps. But the only thing holding them inside this pen is the factor of there's good forage here, and they don't like getting zapped. That's like the last thing they want to do. It's all psychological. It's mind games, So I will tell you that my cows probably won't cross the wire for forage. Like if I left them here for 3 days and there's hardly anything to eat, they'd probably starve rather than cross the wire. But if they run out of water after about 24 hours and no water, they'll cross the wire looking for water. So cows are thirsty creatures, but they don't mind fasting for a couple days. It's not too big of a deal for them. In terms of their growth, yes, it's a big deal. I want fat cows that grow big, and so on grass, one thing that I keep thinking of this guy Ben at Grazing 365. He's right that if you want to make money on grass, you have to graze the grass at a particular point, right? Grass has a life cycle, and there's a period of time when that grass is ideal for grazing. And if you're not grazing your cows in that window, you're not getting good results, right? I understand that. I appreciate that. Am I grazing in that window? No. I think in the future, maybe next year, maybe 2 years from now, I'm going to focus on trying to graze in that window, trying to set things up so that the cows are eating optimal grazing. Lots and lots of it, right? Feed is a really easy answer to get cows into that state where they're putting on fat and they're growing. Grass is not so easy. I'm not saying that based on experience. I'm saying that based on, my understanding of the equation and what people have told me. So, my grazing seasons, I have about a month and a half, maybe 2 months if I'm lucky in spring. I maybe got another month in October of the cool season grasses. So the cool season grasses don't really play that big of a role, maybe 1/4 of the year at best. It's the warm season grasses. And the warm season grasses, they don't really go through the same life cycle as ryegrass. They constantly grow. They're like either growing or they're not, right? When they're growing, they're in a good, delectable state, right? When they're not, they're not. There's basically no nutrition there. It just fills them up, right? And a lot of people who graze cows on summer grasses, like Bermuda grass, like I have, the mistake they're making is they're overgrazing. And so the Bermuda grass is really never in that delectable state, right? And my goal is to get the Bermuda grass nice and tall and thick, graze it down a little bit, leave a whole bunch and come back quickly, right? Because it recovers quickly, and once you get into that growth phase, it's really good, right? So that's my goal. So the 6-7 months of the year, let's see, June, July, August, September, maybe a little bit of October. June, July, August, September, October, 5 months. The 5 months of the year when the summer grass is really growing, that's when hopefully I'm going to get the best gains on these cows. But traditionally, conventionally, the summer months are not when your cows are putting on weight. They're just maintaining their weight at best. It's the spring months when they put on weight, you know. So I got to maximize the spring forage. I want them to eat as much as possible of the best grass. I don't want to put too much pressure on the land or on the cows. We can do that in the wintertime when things are tough. And the summertime, if they can maintain their weight and not lose condition, then you know that's a reason for success. And my goal eventually is to get to the point where I can see gains in the summer. You know, when I have the right breed of cows that they can eat the grass in the heat and the humidity and still put on weight. You know, that would be awesome if I can get growth during those months. So anyway, guys, I went long. Hope you enjoyed the story of number 21. Have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.